Welcome to This Is. Should Pokemon stop what they're
That
doing?
doesn't even rhyme.
It doesn't have to rhyme.
Pokemon is Pokegon. See, there you go. That's a rhyme.
That's
right
not
there.
bad. That's not bad. Should Pokemon stop what they're doing and start making good games? Scarlet and Violet have been out for a couple weeks now, and they have been riddled with bugs. We need to call an exterminator.
It's okay though.
And I think
both
that
Pokemon have been part of the
exterminator-
game the entire time. They're just thematically really leaning into it. You know, Pokemon
Finally,
is just
bug Pokemon are super effective against something, and that's gameplay. Because I know this is a tired argument that we've been having for years, and that's what makes it tiring. But how is it in 2022, the year of our Lord Roboraptor, are we still having a game that is the largest franchise in the world?
entertainment franchise by revenue, yes.
Still having a game that's putting out 5 FPS.
Okay, Matt. Before you blaspheme
I will
all
blaspheme
over the place.
I'm gonna blaspheme all over this
Okay,
studio.
pause. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are some of the most commercially successful Nintendo games ever sold already. In 3 days, they sold 10 million copies, the fastest selling Nintendo games ever. And yes, Matt, as the entire internet has been making fun of for the last 2 weeks, there are a lot of technical issues with these games. And I will freely admit that I think Game Freak have overextended themselves with this, right? So if we cast ourselves back into the Poke lore a few years, Sword and Shield were the first mainline Pokemon games for the Switch. Yes, Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu were there, but they were not really full series games, right? In Pokemon Sword and Shield, they had what was known as the Wild Area. Now, this is where a lot of the drama started a few years ago because everyone was making fun of the N64 trees.
The mild area is a better way to put that, because the way the marketing was for Sword and Shield was that you could explore these vast wilderness of Pokemon, and really it was just like a little area that had like a group of guys there.
There was not that much stuff to do,
And-
right? But they expanded on it, right? Not only with some of the DLC, but also with Legends Arceus, which I will posit, Matt, is one of the best Pokemon games of all time. Right? It is a very, very fun game. The only problem I really have with it is it's a bunch of like individual little like sort of areas that are attached, but you can't actually freely move between them, right? But here's where I think Game Freak ran into a problem. Last year, they released 2 Pokemon games. They remade Diamond and Pearl, and they brought out Legend Arceus, which was a very technically ambitious game. Then, a mere year later, we've got another game, a full brand new Scarlet and Violet entry into the franchise, and I think it was too much. I don't think Game Freak were able to support all 3 games in, 12 months?
and that's more what I'm talking about here. Not about like whether the game is fun, whether you're having enjoyment. I'm not trying to tell you to stop having fun with it. You should stop having fun with it. Do you remember when Sword and Shield was announced and it got delayed for a year? Basically,
Wait.
what Game Freak said was,
Okay, yeah, go ahead, hit me.
oh, we want to revamp all of our characters and
Oh.
update all these HD textures. We want to revamp everything so it can be, the better battle animations, better everything that's scalable.
Yeah.
And none of that happened. We have a Pokemon Stadium N64 kiosk sitting in our lobby, and those have infinitely better battle animations than our game today in 2022. A lot of this comes down to, bugs aside, all this stuff, Game Freak is a really, really small dev team.
And especially consider that even if you have 200-300 developers, they had to turn around 2.5 games in 2 years.
But no, they didn't. The reason they've had to make all these extra games is to follow through with the promises they made of the previous game and then failed to deliver on.
Well, basically, everyone saw Breath of the Wild when the Switch came out and goes, oh, we
Which
want
looks
that.
amazing.
The problem is the Pokemon Company have never been particularly impressive from a technical perspective. As soon as they moved into full 3D with X and Y, they never really found their footing.
I know people talk about it a lot, and I know Breath of the Wild comes up all the time because that game just looks absolutely gorgeous.
Launch title for the Switch.
Right. So here we have a game that is 5 years old.
Yeah.
That
Breath
looks
of the Wild came out 5 years ago.
infinitely better than any Pokemon game that's come out for Switch, period. And you go, okay, well, it's a lot more complex because of battle animations and whatnot. I'll give you that, but those battle animations, we're still seeing tail wags where like the whole sprite is moving.
In case you have been living under a Geodude and have missed out on the wide variety of Pokemon-related news the last couple of weeks, their issues here are, first of all, not a very good-looking game. No. Certain interiors and certain scenes look fine, but for the most part, textures are N64 grade. But hold on, Matt, I'm not done. You can't stop me. You can't stop this. I'm like an electrode about to use explosion. You can't stop this. Here's the thing, though. There is a terrific game underneath these technical issues. Yes, there are bugs. Yes, there are weird warped people. And yes, you can like fall through and clip through the walls and the floor all the time. But the core gameplay loop on this game is terrific. I had a moment last night. I'm like, I would say half to 2/3 of the way through the game, right? You'll walk into this one level and you'll find a gym leader who has like level 10 Pokemon. You'll crush him, right? I just walked over to this other spot and I got my ass kicked by some like level 60 dudes out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is great. Like, it feels like there's a real challenge to the game.
Again, like that's not what I'm trying to argue against. But like, having paid full price for this,
I actually bought 3 copies.
you bought 3 copies.
I'm no cap. I bought Scarlet and I bought the double pack.
Do you want to know what?
Oh no, he's using the mad
rich
angle.
Hedonism looks like. What just absolute gluttony looks like. It doesn't look like me.
I am a collector of antiquities.
Do you feel like ethically?
Yeah.
Do you think that they should have released this game?
I think they should not have brought out Arceus last year, Scarlet and Violet this year. I think it was too much. Clearly, the developers did not have the time they needed for this game.
My thought is, we have a couple things. One is delay the game.
They can't do that. That's impossible.
No.
Literally impossible. The money printing machine has one speed and it goes brrr. It doesn't go.
So take some of that money printing machine and hire some more devs for the largest franchise in the world.
Matt, you say that. They only sold 10 million games. They don't have the money to hire more people.
This is my problem. This is my problem with Nintendo, because Nintendo, like, this is not new for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Obviously, Game Freak is a Pokemon company, but it's all like they sold so many copies, and they're not gonna fix a damn thing.
Okay, no, I don't agree with that. I think that there are bugs, glitches, and performance issues in this game that can be fixed. Now, I don't think we're ever gonna get a perfectly smooth 30 FPS.
Yeah, they could patch this, whatever. But I mean, their entire mentality.
Yeah.
Of promise now, deliver later.
Yeah.
That is my issue with this, because when they said we're gonna have a Switch Pokemon game.
Yep.
Did we get Sword and Shield? No, because they said, oh, we gotta revamp everything, but we'll give you Pikachu and Eevee.
Just fine.
Fine, whatever.
Honestly, probably the best looking Switch games for Pokemon.
That's my problem. Exactly. And they say, okay, when we have Sword and Shield, they're going to be these vast open world games.
Yeah.
And they did not deliver on that. They gave us 2/3 of a game there.
Yeah.
Which they were not great games.
Sword and Shield were the worst Pokemon games.
And so then we have Arceus,
which is great.
Delivers on the open world, but kind of delivers on a lot of the other core Pokemon mechanics. You can't have your cake and eat it too and say, we're going to keep Pokemon the same, and then give us something like Arceus where like we've stripped out most of what makes a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Do you like playing Pokemon Go? Well, here, you can go play Pokemon Go in this game and not have any of the fun of going.
Okay, hold on. Okay, wait. Pause for one second. We're getting contentious today, okay? We're getting contentious.
I'm feeling contentious and wiggly today.
Okay, you keep your wiggliness to yourself. Don't wiggly tough, okay? I think Pokemon made one key mistake, which is they tried to ship 3 games in 2 years. I think that is the core mistake. If they would have given another year in the oven to Scarlet and Violet, I think they could have not only improved the look, improved the performance. I do believe 6 months from now, this should be a significantly better experience, because even though Sword and Shield were not the most fun games, because honestly, they weren't fun, but at least they continue to work on them with DLC updates and whatnot. And some of the DLC actually did make a little bit more good on the open world promise.
Also cost so much money to get all those DLCs. Let's say $100. Let's say for all 3 of them.
Sure, $100 for the full experience.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for essentially the same game that we paid $35 for on Game Boy. They're inflating the price of these games.
They're charging full console pricing with DLC.
And giving us less and less per game.
I don't agree with that. With Sword and Shield, I agree. Those were not good games. Scarlet and Violet are terrific games. This is a full console level open world experience. If you just assume this is running on an emulator, this is giving you 30 FPS or 60 FPS or whatever.
I'm glad that you talk about emulators. Because the same week that the game came out for Switch, someone already has it up and running on a PC emulator where it runs better than the native hardware. Now we got to have this conversation.
Oh my God.
Do you think the Switch is holding it back? Because when we're talking about outdated hardware,
yeah,
let's not just talk about the Switch. What about like the Series S?
No! That's not the same thing at all.
Do you think these hardwares are holding back current games right now?
Okay. Let's all take a moment. Let's take a deep breath. Let's double check that we've subscribed and ringling the dingling bell to make sure that YouTube is always delivering you the finest of Austin and Matt arguing on this is. So the Switch and the Series S are totally different in my opinion. Series S, yes, is less powerful than the PS5 and the Series X. However, it is based on the exact same underlying technology, same CPU, same GPU architecture, and the Series S is dirt cheap.
Oh yeah, it's very cheap.
$200 for a Series S, right? But I agree.
Do you think that it's holding back games?
No, I do not.
Developers say otherwise. So like,
I'm getting grumpy. I'm getting grumpy here. You know what the hardware's holding them back? They're still making games that have to work on the Xbox One and the PS4 from 2013. That's what's holding games back, not the Series S.
But the Series S is based off of a 1S.
No, it is not. You are a goddamn liar, Matt.
I want to play you a clip.
No.
I want to play you a clip.
A game that will run on S should run on X and should have the ability to sort of push those higher settings and frame rates and resolution. This still has 10 gigs of RAM, which yes, is less. But generally speaking, when you think about the lower resolution like that, it actually does kind of scale. I agree that this will hold things back to a degree.
Look at him. Look at him. He's the same color as his shirt.
The Series S, I agree with past Austin here. I agree that it does have a little bit of a limitation, but the difference is right now, developers, not counting the Switch, but developers for like regular AAA games are having to develop for Series X, PS5, Series S,
he's gonna be really mad
and PS4 Pro and PS4, One X and One, right? The Xbox One and the PS4, the base models, all of them are holding gaming back because you have to develop a game that can scale down to the lowest common denominator and then try to take advantage of the features of the high-end console.
So can I tell you why I just had you explain all that?
Why?
You've activated my trap card. So then why the hell can't Game Freak develop a game for one system?
Okay, that's a fair point. That's a separate point. You just got me wound up.
I just had you go in that whole circle just so you couldn't say anything about how they have no excuse that they can't optimize for one system.
I agree with that. Here's the thing. Every single Pokemon game ever made runs better on the hardware it was designed for, other than Scarlet and Violet, which runs very poorly on the Switch. Now, there is an argument to be made that yes, a Switch Pro would help. And I know a lot of people have been arguing that, oh, they should have, the Switch is holding things back. Now, first of all, no, this game can and should run better on the hardware it is designed for, right? Like, full stop. You could say that if you had a Switch Pro, which was very heavily rumored and basically should have happened in
We're never going to have a Switch Pro. We will never have a Switch Pro.
I don't think so.
We will have the Switch Pro. Mark it down. Mark it today. The Switch Pro will just be essentially like the Wii U fiasco. We'll have a Switch U. All right, and
don't use that branding, Nintendo.
Switch U,
please do not.
And then it would essentially just be a Switch Pro. But then they're gonna say you have to buy all new games because that is their entire business model. Nintendo's entire business model is reselling you the same game with doing the minimum amount of work. That's where I'm malding for this whole thing. Is we're talking about Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, but it's Nintendo. They are Nintendo. They are like, it's the same mentality of when I say they're never going to fix anything, I don't mean they're not going to fix bugs. I mean, they're never going to stop sending out a 75% game because they know that as soon as they put a Pokemon branding on something, people are going to buy it in masses. This is how I know that Pokemon knows that they're doing wrong. Okay. They start issuing refunds. When's the last time a Nintendo game issued a refund?
I mean, Cyberpunk did that.
That's Cyberpunk. I remember Cyberpunk for the Switch. Like,
please no.
Nintendo is notorious for saying no refunds ever.
I just take the game out and just, bring it back to GameStop.
That's not what I mean. Because a lot of people buy digital.
Losers. No one should buy digital Nintendo games if you care about them, because Nintendo's gonna turn off their shop in like 10 minutes. Buy the physical games.
My
Nintendo
point
consoles.
is that Nintendo's business model. Yep. We could talk about Xbox and PlayStation all day long of like, oh, is Call of Duty gonna be an exclusive on this? Blah blah blah. Nintendo is the one that's the most of like everything that we do is exclusive. You can't get a Pokemon game anywhere else.
Correct.
So we know that we're gonna give you a half-ass game. You're gonna buy it in masses, and then next year we'll give you the other half of that game, but we'll have promised something else. And like, this is gonna continue.
Are you trying to insinuate that Nintendo is a crack dealer?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
That they give you the first hit?
Pokemon has not innovated since Silver and Gold, where they gave you 2 regions. Instead, we had to pay for basically to get the game to work. These are Game Boy games. They might look a little bit better, but the quality of life that we are getting on a Switch, a full console game, is not much better than we got on a
hard disagree. Hard disagree.
Let us know in the comments what you think. Am I full of shit? Is Austin a Pokemon shill? Is it all of the above? Like, follow, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.